In March of 2020, COVID-19 struck and created a worldwide pandemic. Live theater sadly was put on an indefinite hold until a cure was in sight. During this time, the Birmingham Village Players, like all other live theaters, had to cancel their season and set their sights on virtual content. During a thorough clean of the theater, a discovery was made deep in the vaults beneath the basement of the playhouse. Lost, never before heard of tapes were discovered of a radio broadcast of a Shakespeare play. What you are about to hear are those long-lost recordings, restored to the best of our abilities. While not perfectly restored to what we assume would be its original quality, we think it's the right time for this lost play to finally reach the light of day. We now present to you the first of 5 installments of this lost production.
The Birmingham Village Players Radio Hour presents William Shakespeare's The Two Gentlemen of Verona, recorded and released over 5 installments for your listening pleasure. And now, before we begin, a quick word from tonight's sponsor.
Tonight's episode is proudly brought to you by Peabody's. Peabody's Birmingham. Come wine and dine with us. We're not going anywhere.
Thank you, sponsor. Now tonight, we are proud to present Act 1 of our radio retelling of this Shakespearean comedy. So sit back, relax, and let us take you to Italy. Ooh. Act 1, Scene 1. We start on a street in fair Verona, where our stage is set. The lovesick Proteus is walking near his good friend, the wise and soon-to-be worldly Valentine. The two young men rush down the street when Valentine suddenly stops and turns to the nagging Proteus.
Cease to persuade, my loving Proteus. Home-keeping youth have ever homely wits. Would not affection change thy tender days to the sweet glances of thy honored love, I rather would entreat thy company to see the wonders of the world abroad, than, living dully sluggardized at home, wear out thy youth with shapeless idleness. But since thou lovest, love still, and thrive therein, even as I would when I to love begin.
Wilt thou be gone? Sweet Valentine, adieu. Think on thy Proteus when thou haply seest some rare, noteworthy object in thy travel. Wish me partaker in thy happiness when thou dost meet good hap, and in thy danger, if ever danger do environ thee, commend thy grievance to my holy prayers, for I will be thy beatsman, Valentine.
And on a love book pray for my success.
Upon some book I love, I'll pray for thee.
That's on some shallow story of deep love, how young Leander crossed the Hellespont.
That's a deep story of a deeper love, for he was more than over shoes in love.
'Tis true, for you are over boots in love, and yet you never swum the Hellespont.
Over the boots? Nay, give me not the boots.
No, I will not, for it boots thee not.
What?
To be in love, where scorn is bought with groans, coy looks with heart-sore sighs, one fading moment's mirth with 20 watchful, weary, tedious nights. If haply won, perhaps a hapless gain. If lost, why then a grievous labor won. However, but a folly bought with wit, or else a wit by folly vanquished.
So, by your circumstance, you call me fool.
So by your circumstance, I fear you'll prove.
'Tis love you cavil at, I am not love.
Love is your master, for he masters you, and he that is so yoked by a fool, methinks, should not be chronicled for wise.
Yet writers say, as in the sweetest bud the eating canker dwells, so eating love inhabits the finest wits of all.
And writers say, as the most forward bud is eaten by the canker ere it blow, even so by the love of the young and tender wit is turned to folly, blasted in the bud, losing his verdure even in the prime, and all the fair effects of future hopes. But wherefore waste I time to counsel thee, that art a votary to fond desire? Once more adieu. My father at the road expects my coming there to see me shipped.
And thither will I bring thee, Valentine.
Sweet Proteus, no. Now let us take our leave. To Milan, let me hear from thee by letters of thy success in love, and what news else betideth here in the absence of thy friend. And likewise will visit thee with mine.
All happiness bechance thee in Milan.
As much to you at home, and so farewell.
Valentine finally exits, leaving Proteus alone in his thoughts.
He after honor hunts, I after love. He leaves his friends to dignify them more. I leave myself, my friends and all, for love. Now, Julia, thou hast metamorphized me, made me neglect my studies, lose my time, war with good counsel, set the world at naught, made wit with musing weak, heart sick with thought.
Enter Speed, Valentine's servant and the fool of this play.
Sir Proteus, save you! Saw you, my master?
But now he parted hence, to embark for Milan.
20 to 1 that he is shipped already, and I have played the sheep in losing him.
Indeed, a sheep doth very often stray, and if the shepherd be a while away.
You conclude that my master is a shepherd, and then I a sheep?
I do.
Why then, my horns are his horns, whether I wake or sleep.
A silly answer, fitting well as sheep.
This proves me still a sheep.
True, and thy master a shepherd.
Nay, that I can deny by a circumstance.
I'll prove it by another.
The shepherd seeks the sheep, and not the sheep the shepherd. But I seek my master, and my master seeks not me. Therefore, I am no sheep.
The sheep for fodder follows the shepherd for food follows not the sheep. Thou for wages followest thy master for wages follows not thee. Therefore, thou art a sheep.
Such another proof will make me cry bah.
But dost thou hear? Gavest thou my letter to Julia?
Aye, sir, I, a lost mutton, gave your letter to her, a laced mutton, and she, a laced mutton, gave me a lost mutton, nothing for my labor.
Here's too small a pasture for such a store of muttons.
If the ground be overcharged, you were best stick her.
Nay, in that you are astray. 'Twere best pound you.
Nay, sir, less than a pound shall serve me for carrying your letter.
You mistake. I mean the pound. A pinfold.
From a pound to a pin? Fold it over and over. 'Tis threefold too little for carrying a letter to your lover.
But what said she?
Aye.
Nod. Aye. Why, that's naughty.
You mistook, sir. I say she did nod, and you ask me if she did nod, and I say, aye.
And that set together is naughty.
Now you have taken the pains to set it together. Take it for your pains.
No, you shall have it for bearing the letter.
Well, I perceive I must be fain to bear with you.
Why, sir, how do you bear with me?
Marry, sir, the letter, very orderly, having nothing but the word naughty for my pains.
Beshrew me, you have a quick wit.
And yet it cannot overtake your slow purse.
Come, open the matter in brief. What said she?
Open your purse, that the money and matter may both be once at delivered.
Well, sir, here is for your pains. What said she?
Truly, sir, I think you'll hardly win her.
Why, couldst thou perceive so much from her?
Sir, I could perceive nothing from her at all. No, not so much as a ducat for delivering your letter. And being so hard to me that brought your mind, I fear she'll prove as hard to you in telling your mind. Give her no tokens but stones, for she's as hard as steel.
What said she? Nothing?
No, not so much as, take this for thy pains, to testify your bounty. I thank you, you have testerned me.
Go be gone, to save your ship from wreck, which cannot perish having thee aboard, being destined to a drier death on shore.
Speed quickly exits, leaving our boy Proteus to dwell in his own thoughts yet again.
I must go send some better messenger. I fear my Julia would not deign my lines, receiving them from such a worthless post.
Proteus exits quickly as we turn to Act 1, Scene 2. The young fair Julia, the Lady Proteus's heart belongs to, overdramatically enters in her chamber in distress. Lucetta, her long-suffering, faithful maid, enters behind her, prepared to listen to Julia complain about her love life for what is most likely the 200th time.
But say, Lucetta, now we are alone, wouldst thou then counsel me to fall in love?
Ay, madam, so you stumble not unheedfully.
Of all the fair resort of gentlemen that every day with parle encounter me, in thy opinion, which is worthiest love?
Please you repeat their names, I'll show my mind, according to my shallow, simple skill.
What thinkst thou of the fair Sir Eglamour?
As of a knight well spoken, neat and fine, but were I you, he never should be mine.
What thinkst thou of the rich Mercatio?
Well of his wealth, but of himself, so.
What thinkst thou of the gentle Proteus?
Lord, to see what folly reigns in us.
How now? What means this passion at his name?
Pardon, dear madam, 'tis a passing shame that I, unworthy body as I am, should censure this unlovely gentleman.
Why not on Proteus as of all the rest?
Then thus, of many good, I think him best.
Your reason?
I have no other but a woman's reason. I think him so, because I think him so.
And wouldst thou have me cast my love on him?
Ay, if you thought your love not cast away.
Why he, of all the rest, hath never moved me.
Yet he, of all the rest, I think, best loves ye.
His little speaking shows his love but small.
Fire that's closest kept burns most of all.
They do not love that do not show their love.
Oh, they love least that let men know their love.
Oh, I would I knew his mind.
Oh, pursue this paper, madam.
Lucetta hands Julia a letter.
To Julia. Say, from whom?
That the contents will show.
Say, who gave it thee?
Valentine's page, and sent, I think, from Proteus. He would have given it to you, but I, being in the way, did in your name receive it. Pardon the fault, I pray.
Now by my modesty a goodly broker. Dare you presume to harbour wanton lines, to whisper and conspire against my youth? Now trust me, 'tis an office of great worth, and you an officer fit for the place, or else return no more into my sight.
Julia childly hands Lucetta the letter back.
To plead for love deserve more fee than hate.
Will ye be gone?
That you may ruminate.
Lucetta, with a roll of her eyes, happily exits Julia's chamber.
And yet, I would I had o'erlooked the letter. It were a shame to call her back again and pray her to a fault for which I chide her. What a fool is she, that knows I'm a maid and would not force the letter to my view. Since maids in modesty say no to that which they would have the proffer construe, I. Fie, how wayward is this foolish love that, like a testy babe, will scratch the nurse and presently, all humbled, kiss the rod. How churlishly I chide Lucetta hence, when willingly I would have had her here. How angrily I taught my brow to frown, when inward joy enforced my heart to smile. My penance is to call Lucetta back and ask remission for my folly past. What ho, Lucetta?
Lucetta, very much annoyed, returns.
What would your ladyship?
Is't near dinner time?
I would it were, that you might kill your stomach on your meat, and not upon your maid.
Lucetta accidentally drops the letter. She bends down to pick it up.
What is that you took up so gingerly?
Nothing.
Then let it lie for those that it concerns.
Madam, it will not lie where it concerns, unless it have a false interpreter.
Some love of yours hath writ to you in rhyme.
that I might sing it, madam, to a tune. Give me a note your ladyship can set. As little by such toys as may be possible. Best sing it to the tune of Lighter Love. It is too heavy for so light a tune. Heavy? Belike it hath some burden then? Aye, and melodious were it, would you sing it? And why not you? I cannot reach so high. Well, let's see your song. How now, minion?
Julia viciously snatches the letter out of Lucetta's hands.
Keep tune there still, so you will sing it out. And yet methinks I do not like this tune. Oh, you do not? No, madam, it is too sharp. You, minion, are too saucy. Nay, now you are too flat, and mar the concord with too harsh a descant. There wanteth a mean to fill your song. The mean is drowned with your unruly bass. Indeed, I bid the bass for Proteus. Oh, this babble shall not henceforth trouble me. Here is a coil with protestation.
Julia, with apparently no self-control, tears the letter into pieces.
Go get you gone and let the papers lie. You would be fingering them to anger me. She makes it strange, but would be best pleased to be so angered with another letter.
With another roll of the eyes, Lucetta exits.
Nay, would I were so angered with the same.
Julia, on her ever-moving roller coaster of emotions, bends down to pick up pieces of the letter she just tore up.
Oh, hateful hands, to tear such loving words, injurious wasps, to feed on such sweet honey and kill the bees that yield it with your stings. I'll kiss each several paper for amends. Look, here is writ, kind Julia. Oh, unkind Julia, as in revenge of thy ingratitude, I throw thy name against the bruising stones, trampling contemptuously on thy disdain. And here is writ, love-wounded Proteus. Our wounded name, my bosom as a bed shall lodge thee till thy wound be thoroughly healed. And thus I search it with a sovereign kiss. But twice or thrice was Proteus written down. Be calm, good wind, blow not a word away till I have found each letter in the letter, except mine own name, that some whirlwind bear unto a ragged, fearful, hanging rock, and throw it thence into the raging sea. Oh, lo! Here in one line is his name twice writ. Poor, forlorn Proteus, passionate Proteus, to the sweet Julia. That I'll tear away. Oh, and yet I will not. Sith so prettily he couples it to his complaining names. Thus will I fold them one on another. Now kiss, embrace, contend, do what you will.
Unceremoniously, Lucetta enters to beckon Julia.
Madam, dinner is ready, and your father stays. Well, let us go. What, shall these papers lie like telltales here? If you respect them, best to take them up. Nay, I was taken up for laying them down, yet here they shall not lie for catching cold.
Lucetta can't help herself and bends over to pick up the fragments of paper Julia has spread across the ground.
I see you have a month's mind to them. Aye, madam, you may say what sights you see. I see things too, although you judge I wink. Oh, come, will't please you go?
Julia exits, followed by Lucetta, who gives one final roll of the eyes, as we turn to Act 1, Scene 3. We find ourselves in the garden of Lady Antonia's, the lovesick Proteus's mother. Gossip being one of her favorite pastimes, she confronts her servant Panthino to see what she was speaking to her brother about earlier in the day.
Tell me, Panthino, what sad talk was that wherewith my brother held you in the cloister?
'Twas of his nephew Proteus, your son.
Why, what of him?
He wondered that your ladyship would suffer him to spend his youth at home, while other men of slender reputation put forth their sons to seek preferment out. Some to wars to try their fortune there, some to discover islands far away, some to studious universities. For any or for all these exercises, he said that Proteus, your son, was meet, and did request me to importune you, to let him spend his time no more at home, which would be great impeachment to his age in having known no travel in his youth.
Nor needest thou much importune me to that whereon this month I have been hammering. I have considered well his loss of time, and how he cannot be a perfect man, not being tried and tutored in the world. Experience is by industry achieved, and perfected by the swift course of time. Then tell me, whither were I best to send him?
I think your ladyship is not ignorant. How his companion, youthful Valentine, attends the emperor in his royal court.
I know it well.
'Twere good, I think, your ladyship sent him thither. There shall he practice tilts and tournaments, hear sweet discourse, converse with noblemen, and be in the eye of every exercise worthy his youth and nobleness of birth.
I like thy counsel. Oh, well hast thou advised. And that thou mayest perceive how well I like it, the execution of it shall make known. Even with the speediest expedition, I will dispatch him to the emperor's court.
Tomorrow, may it please you, Don Alfonso, with other gentlemen of good esteem, are journeying to salute the emperor and to commend their service to his will.
Oh, good company! With them shall Proteus go. Oh, and in good time. Now we will break with him.
Oblivious to his mother and her servant, Proteus enters reading a letter from his fair, loving Julia.
Sweet love, sweet lines, sweet life, here is her hand, the agent of her heart. Here is her oath for love, her honor's pawn. Oh, that our mothers would applaud our loves, to seal our happiness with their consents. Oh, heavenly Julia.
How now? What letter are you reading there?
Antonia goes to grab the letter. Proteus quickly hides it from her. Antonia gets suspicious.
Oh, may it please your ladyship, 'tis a word or two of commendations sent from Valentine, delivered by a friend that came from him.
Lend me the letter. Let me see what news.
There is no news, my lady, but he writes how happily he lives, how well beloved and daily graced by the emperor, wishing me with him partner in his fortune.
And how stand you affected to his wish?
As one relying on your ladyship's will and not depending on his friendly wish.
Oh, my will is something sorted with his wish. Oh, muse not that I thus suddenly proceed, for what I will, and there an end. I am resolved that thou shalt spend some time with Valentinus in the emperor's court. Oh, what maintenance he has from his friends, like exhibition thou shalt have from me. Tomorrow, be in readiness to go. Excuse it not, for I am peremptory.
My lady, I cannot be so soon provided. Please you, deliberate a day or two.
Look, what thou wantest shall be sent after thee. No more of stay. Tomorrow thou must go. Come on, Panthino. You shall be employed to hasten on his expedition.
Antonia proudly exits, followed by Panthino, who stops to give one last look of suspicion towards Proteus. Proteus dwells again in his own mind.
Thus have I shunned the fire for fear of burning, and drenched me in the sea where I am drowned. I feared to show my mother Julia's letter, lest she should take exception to my love, and with the vantage of mine own excuse, hath she accepted most against my love. Oh, how this spring of love resembleth the uncertain glory of an April day, which now shows all the beauty of the sun, and by the cloud takes all away.
Proteus!
Panthino with much disdain enters to address Proteus.
Sir Proteus, your mother calls for you. She is in haste. Therefore, I pray you go.
Proteus!
Why, this is it. My heart accords thereto, and yet 1,000 times it answers no.
Panthino extends her arm, making Proteus exit first. They both go off together to find Lady Antonia. And thus, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we reach the end of Act 1 of The Two Gentlemen of Verona. The role of Valentine was played by Tom Shalakis, Proteus by Jude Purcell, Speed by Jackie Berry, Julia by Liz Schultz, Lucetta by Susie Skibicki, Antonia by Sally Savoy, Panthino by Rachel Biber. Our sponsorship tonight was read by Jennifer Jones. Tune in next week where all your burning questions may be answered. Will Speed make it to Milan to serve his master Valentine? Will Proteus be able to stay true to his love Julia back in Verona? Will Lucetta and Panthino make it into Act 2? Spoiler alert, they do. All these questions and more will be answered next week when we do Act 2 of The Two Gentlemen of Verona. Thank you and have a great night.